G'day everybody and welcome to the Good Day Matrix. My name is Daz and I am very grateful to be sitting here at Microsoft today with the amazing Carol Brown. I've been working with Microsoft now for almost a year, I guess, on and off with different things, and her name comes up in almost every single conversation I have with different people. It's like people fangirl when they talk about Carol and her leadership, so I am incredibly grateful to sit here with her today. She has a reputation for putting people first and also finding ways to really see them shine and thrive in the roles that they have. She is a DIS and EQ consultant and a very proud representative of Aotearoa on the Forbes Coaches Council, which I just think is so epic. And she has an amazing role here with the SMB side of Microsoft. So welcome. Well, thank you for having us here at Microsoft.
Thank you.
And I'm so excited for today because finding great leaders is just something that I'm so passionate about, and then trying to give them that light to share those tips and tricks with everyone else, but also how you take care of yourself when you're leading people, because we forget, and I'm sure we'll get into that real quick. So what we've tried to do, obviously, with the Good Day Matrix is wipe out the notion that it's just body and mind when you talk about wellness, and to really connect in with environment and community and identity as well, to know who you are when you get challenged, you know, what's made you react in that way and what your triggers are and different things. So we'll just work through those today, and we'll start with body. What are some like non-negotiable routines or rituals or habits that you have regarding your body and taking care of yourself?
It's very different now that I'm a bit older. It used to be I was very deliberate about going to the gym, but I spent a lot of time in the gym back in the old days. And then I had kids and all of that changed. So for me now, not negotiables are I do get up at 5 a.m. And between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. before I have to start making toast and getting kids ready is my time. And I think the one thing that I've been really deliberate about is making sure I fit it in. Yeah. And look, even if I live in Mangawhai, so even if I have to come to Auckland, I do tend to leave at 6 a.m. So I may not get that time, but I just do little things now, like I have to get my 10,000 steps. And even that, I will go for a walk around the viaduct. Yeah. I will do my meetings walking, which is a great thing. That's like, I'm a big advocate for that. Yeah. And so it's just about moving. And I think that's where I've probably changed, where wellness and fitness used to be something completely different when I was 20 to what it is now that I'm pushing middle age.
Yeah, we were just talking to Tara Lorigan about this, and she was saying the neuroscience behind that understanding that movement's the key. We're built to move, we're not supposed to be sedentary, and as long as it's moving, it doesn't have to be moving to be fit, it's moving to live, and and it's changing that sort of
that's a big mindset shift for people as well. I think even like when I look at my husband and I, we were really sporty people when we were younger, and now that we're kind of early 40s, we're going, well, it's actually about how do we keep our bodies moving. Is
how do we not groan when we get out of our chair. I noticed doing that. I'm 36 and I'm like hold on a minute, I'm not groaning yet. It's not quite right. When we talk about mind, we talk about needing to be resilient and dealing with uncertainty and challenges that come along, and how we can not regress and not run from those challenges, but to stand up and know how to deal with them. So what are some things that you put into play to be resilient? Do you have mantras? Do you have thought processes or things that prepare you for the day?
I don't have mantras. I don't do anything that fancy, but I have done a lot of work on myself over the years, to be honest. And I think that's key, is like we don't wake up resilient, and resilience will change over time as well. So when I got told that my mum had terminal cancer, my resilience went, and that was a point where I actually came to work and went, I don't want this big role. There's too much going on. But from there, I actually realised that there's people that want to surround themselves around you as well. Yeah. And so I also started on a bit of a learning journey, and I think this is when we think about leadership, and I get so passionate about this, but... Good,
please, never apologise.
When we think about how do we develop the talent of the future, this is the stuff that's really important. And I had someone said to me the other day, there's this woman and she reminds me so much of you. She's really successful. She's got a great career. She's very driven. She's got young kids like you. And I went, but don't be fooled. There's days when she's crying on her way to work in the car. Like, no one has their shit together the whole time. And so some days when we talk about resilience, I'm going to come to work and be like, yes, we're going to knock it out of the park. And other days I'm like, it's more of a grind.
Yeah.
But it's how do you be okay with that?
Yeah.
And I think one of the things I'm learning now as I get older is I'm super planned and I want everything to be structured and I want to own this and this is my next career move and blah, blah, blah. Just get used to sitting in the uncomfort. And that's been a big thing for me, is like, I've just taken on a new role at Microsoft. But it's a 6-month project and I don't really know what's going to happen after that.
Yeah.
But like, how do you help people get comfortable with that ambiguity as well? Like, I think that's a really big one. I think, and for me, it's about how do we tell our stories to help other people realize that, like, I don't have my shit together the whole time. There's some days when my kids are bloody annoying and I'm trying to get out of the house and I'm freaking out. And so I think it's, for me, it's more, not even a mantra, but just acceptance.
Yeah, and to be. But it's also, it's so critical. Like, that's why I love these stories, so we can inspire people's curiosity, because often stories are short. You might see like a quick social feed about this amazing woman who's done amazing things, but it's in 500 words. And you don't see the potholes and the pitfalls and the challenges and the blocks and the crying in the shower and the wondering, how the hell am I going to do this again today and get everyone else organised? Like, you missed that part. So I think this is why this is so important in any industry. Like, we're talking to mums, we're talking to dads, we're talking to truck drivers, we're talking to business people, entrepreneurs, like everyone, to get these stories out, because if we can, then it's a game changer for going, okay, so it's actually okay, I don't feel all right today, or I'm not confident, or it doesn't come naturally to me, but I work on that every single flippin' day to turn up a certain way, to know what strengths I need to bring, or, you know, what my team need from me.
And it's an ongoing journey as well. I remember sitting in the boardroom very early on at Microsoft, and I'm not private schooled. I was a rebellious kid. I left school at 16. My dad said get a job, so I went to Woolworths and I was a checkout operator. And so that was my pathway. And I remember sitting around the boardroom table going, this is so scary. I'm not smart enough to be here. And so, like, even that, it's just the stories that we tell ourselves. And so just the continuing of working on that. But I think what you're doing is amazing, because it's telling people those stories. Like, I tell people about, because we've got a small business in Mangawhai. James was short-staffed. My mum and dad were sick because my mum has no immunity. She gets super sick. I had to pick the kids up. I had to be on a call. And I was trying to do all that, and I was going, what am I doing? Like, why? Who is putting this pressure on me? So I think that's why I just get so passionate about just, everyone is human at the end of the day. I was in a hospital about 3 weeks ago, standing there quite upset, but also needed to be on a call. And I actually stepped out of the room to take the call and get on the Zoom. And I was sitting there and I was like, what are you doing? So I actually said, no, I'm going to have to jump off. And it wasn't even a critical thing, but in my mind I was like, it's really important that they see that I'm there, that I'm committed to doing this stuff. And then I was like, what are you doing? Just reality checks, I guess. And again, that comes down to sort of knowing yourself, which leads us really beautifully into our identity, because bringing your authentic self, and not just you bringing your authentic self, but people trusting they can bring their authentic selves and be 100% them, that they're going to be accepted. We were at the Hall of Fame for female entrepreneurs that got inducted about a month ago now. And it was like Teresa Gadding and Kitty Nathan, and just fierce women who told beautiful stories of this. There's no flat roller coaster. This is just, it's all over the show. And the biggest takeaway there was that they could share who they were and bring themselves 100%, but they had to learn that lesson, you know, by trying to fit into squares or fit into different boxes. But how do you encourage your team, or what do you put out for your team to come and bring their true selves, their 100% authentic self, but also how do you do it as well with those days where you're confident, you're not feeling great, you know, how does that all link in? That is really important to me. Psychological safety. I want the team to show up as themselves. I want the team, like, for me, it's about trust. And the most important thing I can do, and when you work in a place like Microsoft as well, there's way smarter people in this building than I am. So, like, it's never about telling people how to suck eggs. It's about supporting them as a human. And so I'm really authentic, appropriately authentic.
Yeah.
So I think there is a line.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we sat around the other day and I just said to the team, hey, how's everyone feeling? Because we've had a lot on lately. And I said, do you guys want me to be transparent for a minute? And I said, I literally had a conversation with Vanessa, who's my boss. I said, I haven't seen the kids very much lately. I've been working. My balance has got out of kilter. And I said, I felt a bit teary about that because I felt a bit guilty. How's everyone else feeling? And then we had half an hour talking about how everyone was feeling and well-being. So it's just, I think, I hate saying leading from the top because it's such a horrible thing to say, but it is about how do you lead as a human, and how do you support the other humans to be as awesome as they possibly can be. And I think that's the psychological safety piece, because it's never about the metrics, it's about the humans, and it's about supporting them. And everyone's drive is going to be different, and everyone's going through different things, as you said, at different points. So it's just be honest, build trust, and genuinely care. Like, I think that's the thing. How do you get in tune with the people in your team? That's the most important thing. And there will come a point when I'll bang on about coaching cultures, because that is what I do, but that's all it is. Coaches are just professional listeners that build trust and safety in their team. And so that's why I think if we can all do more listening and trusting and less telling, where it's just, especially in this environment we live in, we're just all going to be so much better off.
Yeah. And both of your example there is that you're being vulnerable, which is massive for a leader to do, but also being empathetic, because you told that story wanting to hear how everyone else was, not just sort of a token gesture of, and they'll know that about you, which is obviously why they all talk about you here, and when you're not around, how wonderful Carol is. But it's true, and them being able to also connect to where they've come from and bring that with them to work, you know, whether that's a part of their culture or part of their beliefs or a part of their history, of, you know, it all frames it up. So your reputation.
Oh my gosh.
Your reputation about town and your community here at Microsoft alone, and I imagine you are connected to other community areas too, but it is so strong. Like, there's not one person that doesn't smile when they're like, oh, Carol Brown. Like, it's, you know, but smile with a joy of what they've obviously seen you do or you've done for them. And Darren is a prime example. He's like one of the most amazing bosses you could ever ask for is Carol. So it's pretty special, and I hope that like warms your heart, because sometimes people don't often say it to you. They'll go around and be like, you know, I'll say it about the people behind these cameras right now, Emily and Sam, they're flipping amazing, but maybe I don't say it enough. Maybe I do. Who knows? So how have you cultivated that culture of supporting others within your team and the ripple effect? Because it's felt here, it's not just your team, that culture you've developed is rippling out into the others.
It's humans, and it's just helping people to understand that it genuinely is about the human. And like, I genuinely care about people, and I genuinely want people to be awesome. And I genuinely, so for me to be at Microsoft, someone had to give me an opportunity. And it was a very old school, scary sales manager, but he gave me the opportunity to go and be a lawnmower sales rep at 19. And so I became the first female lawnmower sales rep.
Wow.
But that kick-started my career. So I've kind of on this mission to help others have that same opportunity. And then how do I play that forward? So it's all about, I just want to support them to be the best they can be. And it's understanding, it's listening. So, oh my gosh, it's listening. I'm not talking to my team about the metrics, unless we have to talk about the metrics as a team, but we've built that trust where we know the sky's not falling if we have to talk about metrics. We just have to maybe lean in a little more. But I'm talking to them about what they want to do, and I'm talking to them about what's happening in their life, and I'm getting to know them as a human. And I literally just came off a call before coming in here, and someone shared their success story about leaning more into the culture piece. And it's not easy for everyone, and it's an ongoing journey, and it's learning, but it's just, at the end of the day, we're all humans. And humans are working with humans. It doesn't matter how big your organisation or how small your organisation, it's about just finding your connection with the people on your team. And I'm so passionate about this one, because I genuinely believe that if we can create the cultures with the psychological safety, and people can come to work and know that they can be like, yo, Carol, I'm having a real shit day, and they know that I'm going to say, I'm totally cool with that. Like, what do you need?
Yep.
I think it's just so much better for business.
Yeah. And people do business with people.
100%.
You know, like they love Microsoft. Microsoft is an amazing brand, but people do business with your people, and you're working with those people every day, and you spend a lot of time with them. So it's so important to have that wraparound culture that you're safe here. Regardless, we're good, and we'll get you through whatever it is we're going to get you through. And I know you'll do the same for me, which is, I think, another part of that reciprocal relationship too.
And I think that's an interesting piece as well. Like all cards on the table. I got my dream role at Microsoft, and then we restructured, so I couldn't have that dream role. And so it was the head of coaching worldwide, which was massive for me. Like, that is my dream. And do you know what my team said to me? You spend so much time supporting us, don't forget that we're here to support you as well. And I was like, this is why you guys rock. You're amazing.
And that's how you know your people, like you just know, you build that around you, and you find those people, and it must be hard for you to let them go, like once you build that unit, you're like, no one can leave. We've got this under. I want you to fly, but
I know that's the other thing, because you do want them to fly. You want them to get their dream roles and their dream opportunities, but you are like, oh, you're all my family.
Yeah. But imagine like those connections as well. Like, we talk about, I don't know if you surely know Brené Brown, but Dare to Lead, like every page is post-it noted and stickied here and written, and talking about values. Like, mine is usefulness and connection, when you've got to only have two. And if I'm being useful, but if I'm connected to those people, then that connection's always going to be there, and you're connected because you want to see great things come from what they're doing. So it's pretty spectacular. Are there any other sort of community groups or things that you're a part of outside of Microsoft?
Yeah, I'm really passionate about supporting small business as well. Super passionate about that, which kind of fits with the Microsoft thing. But we've got, we have a small business in Mangawhai as well. So I go through the ups and downs of what owning a small business is actually like. And so I do spend a lot of time supporting small business, especially from a coaching perspective and a culture perspective. And the reason behind that is I look at my husband, James, who's an amazing technician, but he wasn't an amazing people leader. And so now he talks about it. That's his second apprenticeship. But his business has got so much better once he invested in the culture and the people. So I spend heaps of time, too much time, pro bono and supporting small business. I say too much time. That's my husband talking. But it's just so important. This is another thing I get real passionate about. We, in corporate, we get so much investment in personal development. That's 3% of the economy. How do we support the other 97%? So that's an area, and I speak a lot in that area, and will support where I can, because it's just, how do we just help people be better and have the opportunities? And once again, I think small business comes back to humans. And I said that the other day at Microsoft. I went, small business is not about marketing programs. It's about humans employing other humans so they can feed their families. Like, if we can keep bringing it back to there's actually real life humans here, people can connect a lot better.
100%. And speaking from small business experience, yes, 100%. It's also knowing that there's people who can guide you safely through some decision making. Like, when we first started out 3 years ago, it was you need good PR. So I was like, okay, I need good PR. But you need a good product too. So you'll be throwing money there, and then they're like, but you've got to invest in PR. So $12,000 goes into PR. You don't get very far. Really, that $12,000 needs to go into the product or the people that are supporting you to do it. And all these hands are on deck for free, trying to help where they can. But these parts that seem valuable aren't. And it's how you connect to those small business owners early and go, here's a path, or here's some safe places you can go, that they may not be PR specialists, but they know enough that they can teach you enough that you can go and start doing some stuff yourself. And then when the ball starts rolling and you've gotten to that point, then you can start outsourcing these parts. But here's some safe people or safe lanes or a safe place to learn to then go and do that next part. Because you're trying to rob from Peter to pay Paul. Like, you're like, okay, do we need that much? Could we stretch the mortgage a little bit to come here? Like, we've got some school shoes or whatever it is. But and you're trying this dream at the same time. You've got this vision. You're going to change the world and do amazing things. So small business is not for the faint-hearted.
No, not at all.
Around environment, we talk about, It can be physical environment, it can be work, it can be home, it can be a sustainable environment of talking about sustainable living, but I really wanted to talk to you about that psychological safety, because there are key things there that I believe you can really shed light on today for other leaders, and not just leaders, but I believe we're all leaders actually, to be fair, it's one of my beliefs, but for people to put in place around them to A, keep others safe, B, keep themselves safe, and then C, sort of recognise when they're not feeling safe, what changes they need to make. It's a big question.
It is.
It's a lot of parts.
There is. I'll start with me, because this has also been learning over the years, is I have some pretty firm boundaries now.
Nice.
And I think when you work in a leadership position, and I agree, we're all leaders, you don't need direct reports to be a leader.
Yeah.
But when you work in a position like this, in a global company, you could work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, if you allowed yourself. So I'm really strict about setting up the boundaries of how I want to work. I'm also really open to talking about my children and the responsibilities I have with the kids.
Yeah.
And there's some not negotiables, and I got to a point, like I'm very lucky, like my mum and dad invest a lot of time, but I'm also conscious they're not there forever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I got to a point where I went, I don't want the boys to be like, okay, this is awesome, but where's mum been? And so I just book it into my diary. I just go and I spend time with the kids. So there's non-negotiables that I've built around myself. And if I can do simple things like exercise every day, make sure I've got enough time for the kids, make sure I'm present when I'm at home, and when I'm talking to my husband or the kids, I'm not actually looking at emails.
Yeah.
And that's been a big thing. And I think that's been a learned thing as well, because I am the type of personality that I'll get really stuck into something new, and then that can take up all my focus.
Me too.
And so I think,
You get super passionate and sort of overrides,
and then that's everything.
Yeah.
And then I think, like the kids have kind of kept me a bit real in that respect as well, because I remember Mason saying to me one day, we're talking about what do you like to do? And he's like, my mum likes to work. And I was like, oh. I know, so so that was the course correct. And I think for the people, psychological safety, like my role as a leader at Microsoft, to be honest, is I'm a big umbrella.
Yeah.
And so there will be stuff coming down, and I'll decide how I want to articulate that to the team. And if I want to bother articulating that to the team, my boss is probably watching, going, this is so Carol. But I think that's really important, because I think if I don't randomize the team so psychological safety to me is we set up our non-negotiables. So in my instance, we're a sales org, so clean pipe, keep us green. If we can hit the number, then I have less conversations and the world was a rosier place.
Yeah.
But outside that, just do your best work, build your legacy, work how you want. You don't need to be in the office. Work however you want that works for you. And then how do we come together as a team? And so I think there's a lot of kindness, a lot of empathy.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. I want people to know that they can honestly ring me if something's not right. In some of the conversations we have, people do get emotional, but that's cool.
Yeah.
That's okay. Like, I want people just to know that, like, I'm not Carol, who's one of the SLT at Microsoft. I'm Carol, and my role is to support them, and is to support them to be the best they can be. And that's not just about hitting a number or a job. That's about how do we help them as humans. And so I think that's my big thing, is like, just invest in your people. They are the most important thing in your business, outside everything else.
Yeah.
Everything falls into place if you invest in your people. And wellbeing is a massive thing as well. Like, we talk about burnout, we talk about teams meetings, we talk about teams fatigue, virtual fatigue. Like, how are we checking in with our people?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I can talk about this for hours,
Please
by the way.
Please do. I'm so enthralled, like, I don't have anything else to say. Please keep going. I love it. It's true though, like I'm 36. From seeing my parents, you work hard, and then you do what's required of you, I guess, and you don't complain, and you turn up, and you push through a cold, and you push through the kids being sick, and and you sometimes push the kids back into school sooner than they should have because you've got 5 other things you've got to do or whatever, and that's sort of the role models. I love my parents. The role modelling that they've done for hard work and determination. They neither studied, Dad was a truck driver his whole life, my mum was a care worker for people, but the dedication they showed to each of those roles wouldn't have mattered what the job was, they would have given 100%. So like I had the best rate at school for not having sick days, all my friends wagged and stuff, I was always there, I didn't pull sickies, and I show up and I do that stuff. But it's actually now in my later life, because it's where I am.
I love that
later life.
You're young.
My oldest so far. That I can actually say I'm not feeling okay, and in a leadership role, be able to say that when I come into the office, I go, I'm feeling really off today, and not feel like they're all going to go, oh, she's feeling off, we can have an off day too, or she's supposed to be leading the ship. Like if she can't lead the ship, what's going to happen? So yeah, we've built that really neat little community as well we've got a really small team, but I think that's a really important message for people to hear loud and clear and as far and wide as you can get it, that it's okay to feel whatever's happening, and just try and build the plan of how you become resilient, how you pull back, what do you need to connect to? Did you go and do some weights? Did you see your kids? No? How do we work that through? We talk about Māori health models and stuff, but there's that quadrant of whare tapa whā. So have you connected to your whānau? How's your mind going? Have you taken care of your body? Where are we sitting? Is your soul feeling okay? And if not, then what can we do to connect it back in? So
100%. Do you still struggle with coming into work sick?
Yes.
Same, because my parents sound very similar to yours. And I am so thankful for the work ethic they gave me.
100%.
But when my team are like, you should probably go home, I'm like, okay, this is bad.
Yeah, sometimes my bunch will say the same. They're like, do you think you should take a break? Okay. Or they'll check, did you eat today? Because I'm like, just got to get some things done. I haven't got time to stop. So yeah. I had a hysterectomy at the start of the year, and I think I was back in the office, I was quite sick from the meds for a week, and then I was back and they were like, get out.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, no, I'm fine. Like, get out. Dad's been doing this, so you get out. But yeah, it's having those people too that can also read you like a book and be like, you're not okay today. So what do we need to do to make you feel okay that it's all right to stop if in your mind you think you have to keep going?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Is there any other tidbits from your coaching that you would like to share today?
We talk a lot about coaching cultures now, and even at Microsoft we talk about coaching cultures, and then people get really worked up about what are the right questions to ask, what should I be asking, what's the right stuff to ask, how do I not look like a dick when I'm trying to coach? And honestly, coaching is just professional listening. So it's just letting you speak, asking the odd question, listening for what's not being said. And if you can do less telling and more listening, you'll build much better cultures and much better connections with your team.
I love that. We will stop there and go to quickfire, so that's like the perfect summary of the day. All right, 3 things that have made you smile today.
Oh, this?
Nice.
Hanging out with my team. And Mason saying to me this morning, my 6-year-old, make sure you don't leave before you give me a kiss. Bye, Mum.
Oh, I love kids. Favourite books?
I am such a Brené Brown fangirl at the moment, and I'm like podcasting and booking and podcasting and booking. So
that did lead podcast too, eh?
Yeah.
She was put on this earth for good reason, that woman.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She's doing amazing things. Yeah, and pretty much every conversation I have, someone's like, have you read this part? Or that links to what she said here. Yeah, so good. 3 favourite smells.
Oh, you can tell I didn't prep for this.
Good.
Coffee. I have to be honest. Coffee. Cut lawn.
Oh, yeah.
And rain.
A few times people have said rain now. Yeah, and cut lawn a couple of times too. I'm a hot chocolate girl. I don't do coffee, but a solid hot chocolate too is just still this. It's not as coffee strong, but it's brings you peace that you're about to have it. What makes you laugh?
People. People make me laugh.
Yeah.
People are hilarious.
People are. Do you laugh at yourself too?
Oh yeah, I can be a real dork.
Yeah. It's the only way to be. Now you touched on it before, but first job?
First job was a checkout operator at Woolworths New Lynn. When we came back from Australia, that's a whole different story. When we came back from Australia and I said, I'm not going back to school, and my dad said, well, you're not going on the dole, go get yourself a job. So I went, sorted.
Under control, Dad.
Yeah.
Got this. Pick me up songs on a feel-good playlist.
This is a bit of a dirty little secret, but I'm still a massive drum and bass fan, so that will be all my playlists.
Oh, that's priceless. You know what you're going to get from Christmas for all your team now. 3 things you are grateful for today.
I'm incredibly grateful for my parents. I'm incredibly grateful for, it's all going to be family actually. I'm really grateful for my parents because I was adopted. And so I'm grateful for the opportunities that they've given me because I'd be in a very different place if I'd stayed with my birth mum. I'm incredibly grateful for my husband and my kids they've all slowed me down and given me some new perspective. And I'm incredibly grateful for modern technology in medicine that's allowed us to have my mother around longer.
I love that, it's beautiful. Favourite concert?
It's all going to be festival stuff. I feel like I'm giving way too much away. Like I really only stopped going to R&B a few years ago, I have to confess.
Absolute respect. I was at Friday Jams like last year, so no stress. We do what we do for the love. Hobbies? Gosh. Learning is a big one for me, and that probably sounds really boring, but I love learning.
Yeah, me too. And I love networking, but not in a weird way. Like just getting to know people and listening to people.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, exercise is another big one. But we also live at the beach. I think it's like outdoorsy and learning and all that stuff.
There's a lot to be said. Like I can't just read for fun, I read to learn, and when I'm sitting in a conversation, I try and have something I take away from each because that's something to add to the toolbox.
I like that.
What is a toolbox? Where are we going with this, Des? What does a lazy day look like for you?
Oh my gosh. Is there such a thing when you have 2 young kids? Yeah. I do not have a lazy day. But if I do, it's normally when I've got to go into my office and do some work for the outside Microsoft stuff I do with coaching. And that is a lazy day because I don't have kids and chores and work and stuff. Yeah.
Heaps of people just say that it's your own time. So though you're still flat out and busy, there's no like scheduled place I need to be or thing I need to do, so that they know they want to do exercise, but they'll go and do it when they want, or because when you've got kids, it's not as easy to just be like, I blob out and
I'm starting to feel guilty. I'm like, I don't think I have lazy days. I just don't.
Qualities that you love about yourself?
I can be pretty funny.
I feel that.
I genuinely love people, and I think that's probably, people say that's my superpower, is my love for people. And the third quality will be I can still mosh with the best of them at a festival.
Carol Brown out.
Drop the mic.
Well, thank you so much for today. This has been so awesome, and there are so many takeaways for all people, not just in leadership positions, but everybody who has a position where they work with someone else and can uplift someone else. So I can't wait for people to watch this, and I can't wait for the feedback that's going to come, because it will be absolutely beautiful. But thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
And no doubt we will see you again soon.
Awesome. Thank you.